Dear Greg, my neighbor's husband just died, and I don't know what to do. She looks so sad and alone. But I don't want to go over there and say the same things that everybody else says. I've had several friends whose spouses have died, and later they've told me that when people say things like, "Oh, it's all for the best," or "He's in a better place," or "God just called him home," they got no comfort at all from those things. In fact, in some cases, they wanted to strangle the person who said them. So I don't want to say something that makes things worse. But she also looks so alone, and I don't want to do nothing. What can I say?
As you keenly observed, your neighbor is feeling alone. Our grief is about ourselves. It's about being alone. It's about losing the love and companionship that had been provided by the person who is now gone. John Donne, the poet, was referring to the European custom of ringing the church bells when someone died in the village, and he said, "Never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." In most cases, we grieve for ourselves. We simply feel unloved and alone. The solution then becomes pretty obvious. We need to feel loved. And real love from any source can be healing. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that your offer of love to your neighbor will be accepted. Some people bury themselves so deeply in grief that they won't accept love. But in most cases, if it's unconditional, freely given, they'll be glad for it. So you don't need to worry about what her theological orientation is. You don't need to talk about where her husband is after death. You can just love her. Knock on her door and say, "I just came over to see how you are. Is this a good time for you?" Remember, it's always about her. If she's busy, come back another day, but don't give up. Remember that you are not there to make her grief go away. If that's your goal, then you have an agenda for yourself, and she'll feel that. You're there only to love her. You can't eliminate her grief, but you can hold her hand while she's experiencing it, and that can make a big difference. Ask her how she's doing. Tell her that you have no agenda at all. Do not tell her that you know how she feels. That's stupid. You don't know how she feels. How could you? She might actually feel a large measure of relief at her husband's death. They might have had a contentious relationship for 45 years, and she might be relieved that he's gone. I've met a lot of people in that situation. So, since you don't know how she feels, ask her. Ask her how she's feeling. Give her a chance to talk about it. We tend to avoid talking about our pain. Ask her what concerns she has now that her husband is gone. You might discover, for example, I've discovered such things many times, that her primary concern is such a small thing as, how is the lawn going to be mowed now that he's gone? You might know a neighbor kid she could hire. Ask her if there is anything you could do to help. Could you clean the house for a week? Would that make her life easier? Could you mow the lawn? I know a young mother whose most powerful memory at the time of her husband's death was a neighbor who came over and simply said, "I'm here to polish all your children's shoes." He knew that was something that had to be done before the funeral, and it was something the mother wouldn't have the emotional energy for. As you ask your neighbor how she feels and what she needs with no agenda, you'll learn a lot. And mostly, she'll feel your love. It's always about real love.